Imagine a small business owner from the toy industry boldly taking on the president in the highest court of the land and potentially sparking a massive refund of tariffs that could reshape the economy. This isn't just a story. It's a real-life drama unfolding in the Supreme Court, where one man's fight might force the government to give back billions. But here's where it gets controversial. Are these tariffs a necessary shield against national threats? Or an unlawful overreach by the executive branch? Stick around as we dive into the details that could have you questioning your views on presidential power and trade policies. By Michael Kaplan, reporter and producer. https://www.cbsnews.com/team. Michael Kaplan is an acclaimed journalist and producer in the CBS News investigative team, known for uncovering exclusive stories and producing in-depth TV reports. His pieces have graced programs like 60 Minutes, CNN, and pages in the New York Times. Read full bio, https://www.cbsnews.com/team/Michael Kaplan. November 5th, 2025, 8 p.m. EST, CBS News. Rick Woldenberg isn't the type to stay silent when something threatens the core of his Chicago-based toy company. So, just a few weeks after the Trump administration announced its extensive tariffs on what they called Liberation Day, Woldenberg sprang into action in April. He filed a lawsuit against President Trump and his key advisors, https://www.cbsnews.com/news/tariffs economy Trump CEO lawsuit Learning Resources CEO Rick Woldenberg, arguing in a detailed 37-page filing that these tariffs represented an unconstitutional seizure of power by the executive branch. A lower court ruled in Woldenberg's favor in June, prompting the administration to appeal. Now, on Wednesday, the Supreme Court is deliberating the case. https://www.cbsnews Supreme Court Trump tariffs arguments, with the outcome poised to determine the validity of one of the president's flagship economic strategies. I simply couldn't accept being dragged into ruin by political decisions, Woldenberg shared with CBS Evening News host Maurice Dugois. We exercised our right to resist. Woldenberg leads Learning Resources, a firm that produces the majority of its 2,000 educational toys overseas in Asia. His approach starkly differs from that of other prominent business executives, who often complain behind closed doors about the chaos caused by Trump's tariffs, but rarely speak out publicly or opt instead for discreet lobbying efforts. CBSNews.com/Trump Apple 25 tariff iPhones. I'm not involved in politics, and this isn't some partisan crusade, Woldenberg emphasized. It's purely a legal dispute about how a specific law should be interpreted. The Supreme Court faces the task of ruling on whether the president possesses the constitutional right to impose tariffs on foreign nations to tackle urgent national crises, such as the opioid epidemic involving fentanyl, unchecked illegal immigration, or ongoing trade imbalances. All issues Trump has highlighted. To clarify for those new to this topic, tariffs are essentially extra taxes on imported goods, meant to protect domestic industries by making foreign products more expensive. In this case, they're framed as tools for enforcing national security or economic stability, but critics argue they can unfairly burden businesses like Woldenberg's. If the court endorses the tariffs, Trump has declared it would ensure lasting prosperity for America. Conversely, if Woldenberg wins, the White House warns of disastrous economic fallout, as the government might need to reimburse billions to U.S. companies that have already paid up. For instance, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent recently estimated that the U.S. could be obligated to return roughly half of the over $200 million in tariff funds gathered this year alone. Woldenberg calculates that about a third of his 500 staff members have been reassigned to handle tariff-related duties, while his company has shelled out between $5 million and $10 million in these fees so far. "I absolutely want that money refunded," he stated firmly. "The government has essentially imposed a huge levy on us." This isn't Woldenberg's first clash with governmental regulations impacting his operations. Back in 2009, he challenged the Obama administration. https project ... retract ... /this content post www.wsj.com articles /SB 100 /248745 575299. On a recent Friday, employees at the company's sprawling 356,000 square foot facility just north of Chicago were busy packing and dispatching orders to major retailers like Walmart and smaller independent toy shops across the nation. Woldenberg points out that his factories in China and Vietnam offer distinct benefits: skilled labor for assembling products such as the beloved toddler cash register, and access to materials for items like Bubble Plush. An innovative children's yoga ball poised for holiday success. He insists relocating production to the U.S. isn't feasible. "It's just not possible for us," said Woldenberg, who inherited the family enterprise in 1998 after decades of operation. "And we're not seeing our rivals doing it either. Instead, they've had to adapt like a game of whack-a-mole, juggling frequent changes in tariff rates." For example, when Trump targeted China by hiking rates to 145%, Learning Resources moved some manufacturing to India. But in August, when India's tariffs jumped to 50%, Woldenberg scrambled to expedite shipments to the U.S. to dodge further charges. "It felt like a frantic sprint against the clock," he recalled. "We had until September 16th to get through customs, but our ship arrived just 6 hours overdue. That slip-up set us back $50,000. Alongside Woldenberg's lawsuit, the Supreme Court reviewed a parallel case filed by 5 additional small enterprises and a coalition of Democratic state attorneys general. In that proceeding, an appeals court deemed numerous presidential tariffs unlawful. And this is the part most people miss. This marks the first direct Supreme Court evaluation of the legitimacy of one of Trump's most impactful second-term initiatives. Previously, the court has issued temporary rulings on other presidential actions, such as his recent attempt to dismiss Federal Reserve Commissioner Lisa Cook. https://www.cbsnews/Supreme Court. Woldenberg remains optimistic about securing a favorable verdict. "We're confident that we, along with countless other affected companies, will receive reimbursements for those improperly levied taxes," he asserted. But let's pause for a moment of reflection. Does empowering the president to unilaterally impose tariffs on foreign goods truly safeguard national interests? Or does it risk creating an unpredictable marketplace that punishes everyday businesses? Some might argue it's a bold move to address crises like drug smuggling or job losses, while others see it as a slippery slope toward executive overreach. What do you think? Should the court side with Woldenberg and demand refunds, or uphold Trump's policies for the sake of economic protection? Share your thoughts in the comments below. We're eager to hear debates from all sides. In Supreme Court of the United States, https://cbsnews.com/Supreme Court of the United States. Tariffs, https://cbsnews.com/tariffs.